Hot takes, insider info, intriguing interviews, we have it all here for you. You're listening to the Green Machine Podcast.
Connor looking for three in the corner. Bottom.
Gets up and rises up like a salmon.
You're listening to the Green Machine Podcast with Kyle and Micah.
Hey Wolverines, it's the Green Machine Podcast. Kyle here with Micah, Tyler. Pretty great day to be a Wolverine, honestly. There's going to be a few more this week, I'm assuming. But great day to be a Wolverine. It was Wallpaper Wednesday, so we all got our wallpapers again. That promotion is awesome. Let's give kudos to the athletic marketing department because that promotion is pretty dang awesome.
Amen to that. I mean, they were swamped today. I know that for a fact because I had a meeting with our social media guy, Ryan Boswell. We met with UVU USA, and like during the meeting, he would be like putting out wallpapers. So he was just swamped, you know. So shout out to our department.
Yeah, seriously, I was kind of for a second I was like, man, this is taking a while, and then I was like, oh, there's so many of these to create. So kudos to them for cranking those out. But did one for me and then one for my girlfriend who played for Oregon State, and so she laughed. She had a good chuckle at getting one of those.
Nice.
Hey, that's just bringing them to the light, dude. Just bringing them to the light.
I'm trying.
Hey, Ty, I know that it's, Ryan Boswell, who does a lot with social media. Cam Deering is the, marketing director. Who else is involved with that we give kudos to for that?
Our two graphic designers, Court Einfeld and Adam Lever. Court, had an awesome design a week ago with the jerseys, and he just outdid himself with the new design this week. So a big shout out goes to them, all the social media team, and Cameron Deering, Unfortunately, I didn't do a lot because the Den, that's kind of out of the Den's department, but, going and showing support, so I contributed like that much.
Nice. Well, and the big thing is it came on a day when, let's put it this way, Utah Valley men's basketball got some really good news. I mean, we talked about it the last episode with the recruits, but a couple of them made it official today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trey from Snow College just joined, and the dude looks like a freak. Athletic, can read the floor, can jump through the roof. If you look up a highlight reel of Trey, is it Farrer?
Farrer.
Help me out with that one. Farrer, yeah.
Yep.
You look him up on YouTube. Dude can jump like crazy, can catch the ball in transition, can read the floor. So pretty exciting day. 6'9", 230 pounds. So
there's your backup to Doss right there this upcoming season, once they officially announce his signing, so, and hopefully that comes, I think, this week, but we'll see. But yeah, I agree with Micah. He's going to be a beast.
I'm pretty confident that Trey's letter of intent will come this week because they've spaced it out a little bit, just for the release and stuff. Since if you noticed, they put out Austin McCord's press release first because he was the first one to actually verbally commit. Then Latrey's released today. So I'm expecting, Trey Farr's to either be tomorrow or Friday because he was the third one to verbally commit to Utah Valley. But like you said, let's talk about the other two that actually signed their letters of intent today with Austin McCord and Latrey. Coach Madsen is very, very high on both these guys.
Absolutely, and I think you saw it with how much the coaches were tweeting about him, Coach Phillips had good things to say about both of them. Coach Okeson, Michael Johnson, director of basketball ops, even Coach Madsen said a few things, so these guys are really high, on these guys coming in and not only being contributors, but being impact players right from the get-go.
Yeah, no, it can't be stated enough. The team's rounding out really well, and we're starting to see some of those 2018, 2019 looks of guys who can move the ball, guys who are fast, adding a lot more height, which I'm really excited about. I feel like we've played a little bit more small ball. We'll see how that goes, but it's going to be pretty exciting.
I think the best part for me is that these guys aren't grad transfers, so they don't have just 1 year to play.
Yeah.
I mean, Trey Farr is going to have 3 years to play. We talked about Dawes having 3 years to play. Colby Leeson's going to have 3 years to play. Asa's going to have 2 years, and Latrey's going to have 3 years. So, I mean, they're bringing in guys that are going to be here hopefully long term. That's going to build some chemistry. That's going to build some excitement. That's going to build some familiarity within the program. And that's what most excites me about the recruiting process right now.
Well, I mean, that's something that Pope always wanted to get to was, you kind of bring in all these grad transfers, you bring in all these seniors, these kind of, as he called it, I think he called them the misfits, at one point, it's kind of this, he stitched it together and it worked really well, but all of them were so short term. Yeah, Kyle, I mean, to your point, I mean, that's something that Pope wanted to do for a long time, didn't really get to. It was a lot of stitching guys together, guys who maybe had a year, 2 years to play, guys who were grad transfers. But this is the first time in a long time that we're seeing sophomores and freshmen commit to UVU who really have a lot of talent and a lot of promise, who are turning down other schools to come here. So it's this groundswell. And if we can have guys playing for 3 and 4 years, that chemistry long-term can go a lot further. So kudos to the coaching staff, the recruiting, the players who are committing here. It's going to be an exciting few years for sure.
Not only the chemistry, but you look at laying an actual foundation when you have guys that are committed 2 to 3 to 4 years. You look at building an actual foundation, for the program, and you kind of build it up year by year. And once those guys become upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, that's when you're going to see the peak of the success. And I think that they can have a lot of success this season. Don't get me wrong, but once you get these guys to their senior years, we could be really, really good and have something really special.
Well, excuse me. With that, there's a trust there, obviously, that they have in Coach Matz. I mean, this will be his second year head coaching, so there's a trust that he's going to help develop them into players. I mean, like Micah said, a lot of these guys had offers elsewhere, and to choose Utah Valley over some of them, it says a lot about Coach Madsen, Coach Phillips, Coach Okeson, Coach Johnson. I mean, all of the guys, it's Jackson, right? Or Johnson?
Yeah, Jared Jackson.
Jackson,
Coach
excuse me.
Jackson.
Sorry, Coach. What they've done, with regard to their recruiting, in this offseason, this craziness, I kudos goes out to them. And there's one more player that I don't know if he's on anybody's radar that they're expecting a national letter of intent from. So we'll have to keep an eye on who that is, because maybe there's another big impact player that they're, bringing in.
Yeah, I mean, there's 9 full spots right now, right? So we're kind of trying to figure out where they're looking. When you got 3 guys in Trey, Farrar, and Fardaz, and potentially Zach Mogbo, we can kind of leave that one ambiguous for now. But that's 3 guys who can kind of switch in and out of the 4 and 5. So we'll see what they're looking at. I mean, I think the 1, 2, and 3 are pretty stacked and interchangeable right now. So we'll see what they're looking for. I would expect some kind of recruiting news on that pretty quickly.
Right. Well,
I've asked Dawes. Oh,
go ahead.
sorry, Kyle.
Go ahead, Ty.
I've asked Dawes about the situation on Mogbo, and he said that Mogbo should be good to go next season, just pending 1 or 2 more things. So,
okay.
And Dawes said that those things are likely to happen. So I think we can count on Zach Mogbo suiting up for the Wolverines.
That's kind of the stuff I've been told as well. So let's hope for his sake that he's able to come back and play. Big body, athletic, strong, and they were really high on him before all that stuff went down. So that'd be another big guy that can help.
Yeah. Ty, can we get any of these guys on remotely for a Zoom, podcast episode? Could we get one of these guys to come in? What would athletic marketing think about that?
I probably could.
Absolutely.
I just have to ask Jason. I don't see any problem. I mean, you've seen that on the Go UVU YouTube. Brandon's been able to talk with Coach Nielsen, Coach Madsen, and Coach LeMay. So I don't think they have any problem with, any of the players coming on that have signed their letters of intent or are already under scholarship. So we'll get that.
So I just challenge all the listeners, throw something in the comments. Who would you like to hear from? If there's any player that you kind of would like more, just to kind of figure out who they are, whether that's a new recruit or that's somebody that's staying, like Brandon or JJ. I think that'd be really cool to bring those guys on.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the, I guess, elephant in the room right now. There's been a lot of talk about possibly not having sports this year. But there's also been talk about if sports, were to get back and, competing and stuff, that the most likely scenario to do that is without fans. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
That's tough for me, being the leader of the student section, and I don't even know to what extent employees would be letting official game personnel, like the marketing staff. I don't know what extent we would have to be cut off from, but no fans at a game is huge. I saw a soccer coach from over in Europe. He said something like, you take fans out of these games and you take away the soul of sports, because fans are that impactful, to the games. They make them that much more fun. The atmosphere, the environments, it's huge. So no fans there, that would certainly be a huge difference for all sports.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be a lot different, and it kind of might answer the question. Those exhibition games that we never get a chance to see, that like UVU men's soccer will go play UCLA, and they're kind of like, yeah, it's closed field, and we're always like, man, I wish I could see that. It almost feels like that. Like we'd be getting a sneak peek into a bunch of games that we weren't invited to. But I think if the question is, and Tyler, I agree with you, there's a difference in a room that's full as opposed to if there's a couple fans there, or nobody. But if I had the choice between no games or an empty stadium broadcast, I'm going to take the broadcast every time. And I think the bigger thing is, how is that going to impact the players? How's that going to impact the programs and the coaches? Because can you imagine playing in an empty stadium, like completely empty? You make a shot, you make a three, it's dead silent, except for your bench, right? Your bench might be saying stuff. So that's going to be pretty interesting. I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but I definitely would take it over nothing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd love to see sports, regardless if there's fans or not in the seats. But it's like, I can agree with that, soccer manager where, the crowd makes the game a lot of the time. That's just the way it happens. So that aspect will be a little disappointing if that can't happen, which, like I said, if sports are to come back, that's the most likely scenario right now, that no fans will be allowed in those games. So we'll see. It's hopefully we do get sports back. Let's put it that way. With what we've seen recruiting wise for men's basketball, women's basketball, and men's soccer, I haven't seen much, in any other sport. With those three sports, with what is happening in recruiting wise, I hope there's sports at Utah Valley this year.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just a tough time for everybody. So
that's an understatement.
You kind of don't want to say it, but we all are thinking it. You're watching these. For us, we want to watch our team do well, right? So you see these great letters of intent. You see all these signees, and it's just like, it's exciting, right? You're craving sports because you haven't seen it in a while, and you think, man, like this soccer team's gonna be great. The women's basketball team's gonna be great. The men's basketball team's gonna be great. You have all these things that you're anticipating. I feel bad for the student athletes. Can you imagine signing these letters, expecting to go play? You get a season robbed from you, and then you don't even know if you're gonna play again. You don't know what the next season looks like. Think about baseball players. They got robbed of a full year. They got a taste, especially the men's baseball team. They put up some pretty impressive wins against some hard teams, and then your season's gone. So then to be told you don't know what is going to happen later down the road, especially if you're expecting a professional career and you're not quite sure how are you going to play in front of recruiters, how are you going to play in front of scouts, what's that going to look like? Yeah, so I don't know, my heart goes out to all the student athletes who are kind of getting robbed right now.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you can say the same for UVU softball, their best start, and forever, it was looking like it was going to be a fun season, and you consider how impressive that was, considering that Coach Stacy May Johnson was hired in mid-January, and a few weeks later they were in Mexico playing. Yeah, right at the beginning of January, and like a month and a half later they were in Mexico playing their first games, and then before you know it, the season was officially underway, and their best start, in a long time.
Ever?
Almost matched.
Is it ever? I mean,
it might be.
It's been a while, yeah.
But they almost matched last season's win total, before even getting into conference play. That's tremendous,
Yep.
And it was just taken just like that. So I feel for you, Micah. And track and field was, even though they did compete, for the WAC championship and missed it by literally a millisecond.
That was that was indoor though.
Close.
Remember, that was indoor. That wasn't outdoor.
It was indoor, right? Yeah. So outdoor track and field still had a chance to compete. They lost that chance. They lose the chance at nationals. Wrestling lost the chance at nationals. So it sucks. It's tough to see them get robbed like that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, on that note, let's get back to a little positive note. Let's talk about each one of our most favorite moments of UVU athletics over the last I don't know 5-6 years.
6 years. Favorite moment? Tyler, well, I feel like you have a stack of favorite moments over the last not 5 or 6 years, but 15 years.
Yeah, it goes back a while. So Micah, you go ahead while I pile through my stack.
Okay. I've got mine. It was the 2016-2017 season, UVU men's soccer, Washington at home, 2-1 win when they were ranked 20th.
Cutting ball for Guy, a little back heel. Guy finds it again with some space, cut across. Oh, falls to the feet, and a goal! It's a goal!
This game was just awesome. We had an incredible home opener, 2 top 25 teams, and the intensity was high. We had fantastic fans, a fantastic crowd that always stood behind us. I think it also pushed us at the end when we were one player down, and I just have a super great team, and that's why we won in the end.
You just got to keep the guys cool, under control, just make sure everything goes according to plan. We recorded and watched film on these guys and how they do their set pieces. I give them a lot of credit. They do a really good job. And, we came in with a game plan on how to deal with them, and we executed perfectly. They said they were going to have a big turnout today. I couldn't believe the atmosphere out here. It's absolutely fantastic. I feel right at home here. I'm so excited for the season coming up ahead of me.
Well, we knew this was going to be an incredible opening match, 2 top 25 teams, and it certainly didn't disappoint. Atmosphere was amazing. I don't know if they understand how these games kind of go, but when you're down a man with 40 minutes to play, you've got to flip the game over a bit and start defending. So our guys today were resilient. They had to stay compact and disciplined. When we got a ball forward, we didn't chase it down. We just collectively moved together. So it was amazing effort, and the 12th Wolverines gave us that extra player we needed at the end of that game for sure.
I was sitting midfield, lower part of the bleachers, and I just remember being on, those games where you never feel relaxed. Every second of the game, you just feel like you're on edge.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching them score 2 goals against just that nationally ranked team. And obviously we know how great that season went on to be, 15 wins. It was so fun. It was just so much fun.
Remember, they were playing a man down the entire second half too.
That's true. Yep. And so you're just watching this defensive prayer, and you're like, please just hold on. And you're just praying for 90 minutes. And I don't know, that game gets me every time. I absolutely loved it. It was a sunny day. I still have photos from that day. yeah, that's the game.
Honestly,
It's
I
the
remember
match.
that game. I remember that game because I had actually been at the Real Salt Lake match, so the RSL match that night had an early kickoff. And so as I was coming home, my dad was like, hey, you can come to Clydesdale. I was like, all right, I'll go to Clydesdale. And I remember I showed up, I got there with probably 20 minutes left. And that was a long 20 minutes. But I remember just how ballistic everybody went the second that horn went off. That was such a fun memory, such a fun night, and an incredible game.
That was a good 100%. One, Mike. I like that. I was sitting under the tent, behind the scores table during that whole match. So yeah, I still sometimes go back and watch the highlight from it. Where Paul Hoffmeister puts that little rebound in to the game winner.
Yeah.
Oh,
the soccer gods.
That was a wild night.
I think I was texting you a lot that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was before I had discovered how awesome Kyle and Micah were, so we weren't texting.
Nice.
Glad you caught the last part of it, though.
Yeah.
All right, Ty, let's hear it.
Oh, man. This one is tough. It's really tough. You said 6 years, so we're going to take it back to 2014. Men's basketball against New Mexico State. As part one, that win was unbelievable. I still remember Kiave Enos stepping up and just knocking down those 3 free throws with less than 2 seconds left on the clock to tie the game. I mean, that's just straight ice. There's no other way to put it. And it's funny because my dad, Professor Creer, actually had him as a student that semester. So the next day in class, my dad said, how on earth did you make those free throws with all that pressure? And he looked at my dad and he just said, hey, man, they were just free throws. Just free throws.
Savage.
He said that he wasn't even nervous. He just stepped up and just knocked them in because they were free throws. And then I think it was 2 games later, I think it was Cal State Bakersfield maybe, when we officially clinched the WAC title, and being able to rush out into the court and celebrate. That was really incredible. A team that was picked 6th, first year in the WAC, New Mexico State, a huge favorite, and just being able to get it done and win was just unbelievable.
Oh.
Close second, though, was going into the Marriott Center and UVU men's basketball beating BYU.
Nice.
Close second. I was actually sick that day, so I couldn't make it, but I was tracking the game on my phone, and just the more that we pulled away, the more excited I got. Just such an ecstatic feeling.
Yeah, I was I had to make a choice for KSL to either cover that basketball game or Utah State versus BYU football that night. And I chose Utah State, BYU football, because I didn't think we had a chance. And I'm sitting there with my earbud in when I checked the score as I walked in.
You made a mistake.
I did make a horrible mistake. But, I mean, sitting there listening to it as we keep scoring and keep the lead and stuff, and I'm just fist pumping, and I hear all the other reporters, Utah Valley's going to beat BYU. Utah Valley's going to beat BYU. That was a pretty cool day.
I actually remember not really paying attention to the first half at all because I kind of had the same mentality as Kyle. Sorry, Micah. Sorry, everybody. But I was like, man, I really don't know. And then I saw the score at halftime, and I was like, wait, we're up by 4. I was like, okay, I better start paying attention now. And then just 3 after 3, man.
Yep.
I actually, that's a big memory for me. I loved it. Me and my friend Austin were sitting lower bowl on the north side of the stadium, and we were getting ripped apart by BYU fans. I've actually never had a worse crowd experience than in the Marriott Center that night. Someone threw a bottle at us and hit my buddy in the back of the head. Somebody turned around holding a baby and said, hey, you need to shut the hell up. I was like, we didn't say anything profane. I was just going like, yeah, go Brandon, let's go. And we're being loud, and everyone was on edge because they were getting killed. And Brandon banked in that 3, and we were just excited. We knew we shushed the whole
iconic.
What's the BYU fan base called? What's
the
their
Rock.
The Rock. Yeah, like he just shushed The Rock.
One of the Cougars.
And it was just so good. And man, everyone hated us, but it was the best. And we had a flag. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
That's just a great feeling when you've got opposing teams' fans like getting all mad at you, you're kicking their butt, and you're just like, deal with it.
Yeah, deal with
You're
it.
not even mad at them. You're just like so happy. That's a good feeling.
Especially because it was BYU. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, what do you got?
So mine was I want to say it was 2016. I got to go cover some Utah Valley wrestlers at the Nationals at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Chase and Tolbert, Jade Rouser. I thought there was 3. Now I can't remember. But I was sitting up in there's only a little spot for the media on the floor. Then they put you in this like ring around the stadium up top. And fortunately I got to watch I got to sit right above the mat where Jade Rouser was wrestling for All-American status. And I was on my feet the whole time, because I was frustrated that he was losing like he was. And then the third period started, and like he was on attack mode the whole third period. I believe he tied it up, and then he finally got that. Like, I didn't even know he got this tilt, like with 2 seconds left to get another 2 points. And he jumps up and runs into the coach's arms. I mean, like, I was shaking how excited I was, but I couldn't express that up there on Media Row. I mean, there's only been 2 All-Americans in UVU wrestling history, and I got to see one of them happen in person.
That's incredible.
I mean, that was at Madison Square Garden. I'd never been in New York City, so that was a special moment. One of those that I'll kind of always cherish that I was able to do. I mean, and the other one was probably the Kentucky Duke trip that me and Micah took. That was one of those that'll never happen again, but it was awesome.
There's too many good memories, when you really think about them. And when you said 2016, I thought for sure you were going to say the year UVU men's baseball went to the World Series.
I thought that's where
another
you were
one
going
too,
to.
but I wasn't. The thing that stinks about that one, I was actually at my family cabin, so I didn't have any service, so I didn't actually know that they won it till the Monday after. I was so depressed when I finally got service on my phone. I was like, it was just, but that was a great year. 2016 was a pretty year.
It was a great year.
Pretty awesome.
So you graduated.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's
my best year of my life.
So, anyways, everybody, thanks for following along. Follow Micah it's at Wolverine Green 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler's at T_career54. I'm
yes,
at
sir.
Kyle Sports Bias. You'll see them all on the screen here. Or follow us at One Team All Green. And subscribe to our YouTube page. You can do that here. Any last words, guys, as we close out this, Wednesday night?
I know that Kyle won't say this, but hey, he's 72 followers away from 1K. So everybody go follow Kyle right now. Okay, everybody go follow him. Like, that's an order.
Just for reference.
72 away from 1K.
And these two will vouch for me. I broke the news of Mark Madsen being hired as Utah Valley's men's basketball coach way before Woj
sure did.
So I have more insider information on Utah Valley Athletics than that NBA writer does. So give me a follow.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Fair. you're never gonna let that go. You're so happy you beat Woj to that punch, and I'm proud of you.
Not many people do.
I'm proud of you.
Not many people do.
I'm pretty proud of myself there, guys. So, anyways, give us a follow at One Team All Green. Go subscribe to our YouTube page, One Team All Green, and we'll see you in a few days when we record another episode.
Go Wolverines!
Go Wolverines!